Let's remember the legendary 2020 year when we literally played Among Us all day and night. And we all wanted the same thing, to be an imposter. Let's be honest, these were truly the best time, but wait, I think I'm not the only one who lost the desire to play this game very fast. In this video, we will remember how Among Us gained so much popularity in prime years and how he lost it even faster. We will analyze interesting facts and see how the game looks today. I'm Fuse. Sit back, take some delicious, don't forget to like and subscribe and enjoy the video. Okay, let's first find out the background of the Among Us popularity. The first mentions of this game were back in 2018, but the game really didn't look very promising then. That's why a team of only a few developers tried very hard to improve their new game. Eventually, update after update, fix after fix, and they literally brought the game to an perfect level of quality. Among Us attracts players of all ages because everything is literally minimalistic and without unnecessary details. I think when we all looking for games, we look at the graphics first and then at all the other aspects. Okay bro, just look at this perfect character. Just think, they really don't need anything else. They're literally perfect. Even though they have no arms, it's for the best. Just imagine that they have them. As I said, the game gained first popularity in 2020 year. This is the year when the COVID pandemic actually started and people wanted to kill their time as much as possible. Because what else can you do when you sit at home all day? A large part of the Among Us popularity was brought by YouTubers. They gave a very good start for Among Us with their popular videos, and then it started. Mod creators, artists, animators, meme makers, and many more creative people. At the time of the big hype, there was not only a pandemic but also a huge support from community. Only on YouTube, Among Us gained crazy 4 billion views in September 2020. For example, if compare it with my channel, it is 119,500 times more than all my views. On TikTok in the same September 2020, Among Us has gained 14 billion views. Looking at such a huge amount of content, everyone thought to themselves, maybe I should play Among Us too. By the way, I was not an exception. When you become an imposter, you have to lie a lot. And when you simply realize that you have tricked a whole team of peaceful people, your ego literally grows. Which, by the way, makes you want to build it up more and more because you'll be the coolest of all. For that reason, a lot of people, especially children, wanted to play this game at that time and of course to be an imposter. Usually if such children don't become imposters, they immediately leave the game. It was really very annoying. Probably the most annoying things in Among Us was 3 things. Crazy children's. Well, everything is clear here. Also, a lot of cheaters. And of course, small updates with only bug fixes and a few new hats. When the game gets such a huge hype, they certainly had much more money than before. And they made a simply fatal mistake. They almost stopped releasing new global updates with new content. There was literally no anti-cheat. Everyone was mad. People couldn't play normally. Then quit the game, and developers weren't going to do anything about some toxic and strange peoples in games. The decline in popularity began just when the game was getting boring for everyone. At least because of the same type of gameplay. For example, the airship map was the most awaited of all the updates at the time. But as a result, it was released too late. So late that no one was interested in it anymore. Developers have been making global updates for a very long time, just didn't bother and enjoyed the life. Anyway, they already had a lot of money. Well, let's add a couple pets, some hats and suits, and in general everything will good. Players also make mods to Among Us and entertain themselves too. So why do the update then? Maybe someone remembered the update where devs literally removed the ability to write to the chat and we just had to click on the buttons with the prepared text. Most likely this was done to avoid spam, off-topic, foul language and so on. However, let's be honest, it was just incredibly annoying for everyone. This update also had to be removed, but again it was too late. Even I just left the game after that and never came back. Because of this relationship with community, players started to think, should we continue to play Among Us? Also, the decline in popularity was greatly influenced by the fact that YouTubers who promoted the game simply ran out of ideas. Just think about what will happen to a game that's not updated and about which almost no content is made, especially if the game is online and designed for multiplayer. Among Us, by the way, isn't isn't a story game. It's an online game where you do the same thing every time. Story-based games live much longer because story-based games will always have people who want to go through the same story. And most importantly, the same players are ready to pay money for it. In story games, players don't need any stable updates, especially if in such games you can choose a variant how to go through the same story and play it more than once. In the case of Among Us, updates were required on a regular basis, so you and your friends can learn new content, have fun, and not just experience the deja vu effect every game. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad if people didn't just hang out all day in Among Us. Because of the pandemic, there's literally nothing to do. And a fairly large part of the online community literally played day and night. It would be nice if they played for half an hour a day and that's it. But in this case, everyone was playing Among Us for many hours and doing the same thing. Of course, in this case, you will not want to play anymore. But maybe with a small chance, you will go out to touch the grass. But let's not forget that a very much children's content was created on Among Us. And on the cringe scale, it is on the level of the skibidi toilets. As soon as the popularity of Among Us began to grow, some YouTubers, when they ran out of ideas, started to make just incredibly trash cringe kids content to attract the attention of a very large audience of children to their channel. Because it worked so well, there is a lot of such content created like on Conveyor. By the way, if you search for Among Us on YouTube right now and for example select live streaming, you don't have to use the internet anymore. Let's stop talk about cringe anymore. Guys, I give you a tooth. Cringe won't be in the next video. Trash content is one of the factors behind the decline in the popularity of Among Us. Because after such content, so many strange children started to play. They pissed everyone off because they were always doing all sorts of weird things and it was hard for an older audience to normally play with this. And Among Us began to be associated by many with all these cringe videos and memes. And some of them had to leave under the pressure of society because I don't want to be a cringe. I'd rather go play something else. At this time, Among Us was one of the games that quickly went down after a huge rise in popularity. If you think that the developers have realized that smells like fried food and they need to make at least some updates for the game. By the way, congratulations, you're partially right. But only partially. If you don't take into account costumes, hats and so on, not much has been added. Among Us added the fungal map, which was very huge, even bigger than the long-awaited airship. Engineer role was added. You can climb into the hatch but at the same time be on the innocent side. A scientist who can check the pulse of all players but has a charge for 5 seconds. Guardian angel that you can become after death and protect someone from imposters. And also noisemaker who when he died sounded the alarm and showed all the innocents the place of his death. Only 2 roles were added to the imposter. A shapeshifter who can transform to the other players and a ghost who can disappear and reappear. Also hide and seek mode added in which only the imposter interested, and in general that's all. In my opinion, there are a lot of changes, but in 5 years I would like to see a little more. Right now the game is unlikely to develop. Much Among Us community is only the most dedicated fans and some YouTubers. Online isn't completely dead, but compared to 2020 it is really not enough. There are also people like me who just come back for nostalgia and to see if they've added something new to the game. Among Us is pretty much cleared of the children's audience and true lovers of this game now can spend time in it without any problems. Have fun with your friends and play some old map to get a little nostalgic. Among Us very rarely but sometimes still hosts certain global events. For example, the April Fool's Day update had a couple of jokes in it. Players can experience a very sharp growth jump and get a long neck. Also a new special kill animation. Most cosmetics have been blocked and now we could only equip things like this. It's my favorite. Don't forget to write a comment, like this video and subscribe to my channel. We are just a little bit away from 1,000 subscribers. Thank you for watching. Fuse was with you. See you soon, guys.